organization?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an important part of the process. I mean, you look at the ways in terms of to improve your team. Tonight was one of them. Free agency is next. Player retention is another big part of it. Player development is another big part of it. So, you know, with it, obviously, we're going to do our best in free agency, and also realize we never put all our eggs in one basket. And we just want to make sure that we're taking advantage of every opportunity we can to get really good players, develop really good players, retain really good players, and also acquire really good players that can help build a sustainable contender.
I think there is a perception from some that maybe all your eggs are kind of a lot on what happens in free agency, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
No, and it wouldn't be. Look, it's like I said, we're really fortunate. I mean, Steve, as you guys know, is an unbelievable owner. We have a championship coach in Doc, and I think we call ourselves the back office. And it's our job, and our job as an organization, to really be ready for every single scenario. And we have a terrific group that tries to, we got flow charts out the wazoo. I didn't even know what a flow chart was. I grew up in a culture of X and O. Now I got to learn all these other letters. So yeah, I mean, for us is, we're prepared for any scenario that may come our way. Because look, you think about it, in the draft, the organization chooses the player. In free agency, the player chooses the organization. So all we can do is be ourselves, represent ourselves in the best possible light, and hopefully the players that we're attracted to are also attracted to us, and we just keep building.
Do you get nervous during this process?
No, I think it's exciting. This is, for us, look, the draft is for the scouts and for an organization is kind of one of our Super Bowls, so to speak. Free agency is next, and I think you prepare every single day, and not to sound cliche, but look, the more prepared you are, I think the less stress or pressure you feel. I think there's an excitement, and however it plays out, we just feel very, very confident that we're gonna build a sustainable contender.
So you talk a lot about preparation, and then there's so much that's happened in the last 2 weeks in the NBA that you can't prepare for.
You bring up a great point. I mean, you can only control what you can control. And you kind of have to just focus on that. And sometimes there's circumstances that you have no control over. And a lot of times, I think, whether it's the draft or whether it's free agency, I think everyone makes decisions, whether it's an organization or draft or a player in free agency, that's personal to them. And so I think everyone has a different why, so to speak. So for us, we'll figure out as we move forward of kind of if our why and the players' whys that we go after, whether they align.
So this is more of a question for all of us who used to know Lou Jenkins, but there's sort of a perception.
The artist formerly known as Lou Jenkins.
The SI Lou Jenkins.
Yeah.
So what's he done for the organization? I mean, there's this perception that he's sort of been, this is his time, right? Or this idea.
Well, that would be really, really unfair to Lee. To put it is, he's been unbelievable. It's funny is when people in the organization, or people outside the organization, and you ask them, hey, who's your favorite Clipper employee? It's Lee. As you guys know who have worked with him, he just has such an unbelievable way about him. He's just such a nice person. He has this relentless curiosity. He's very inquisitive. So Lee was huge in our draft process. If you guys would have had the opportunity to sit in our interview room, it's like, we're a bunch of amateurs, right? It's like, then all of a sudden, here comes Lee at the end, and we're like, oh, wow! I mean, like, we never even thought of that question, but, it's like, it's what you guys do for a living, like, Lee, you're pretty good at this, We're like, next one you got it all. We'll just sit back. But Lee he's involved, literally, he's in every single meeting we have. This time of year is a part, and to be honest with you, kind of a small part of what he does. The draft, the different things that he does in regards with our players and to help them in terms of their personal brand and messaging, what he does in terms of like the draft research, like you talked about and asked about in terms of talking to Coach Hamilton. He does an unbelievable job of helping our scouts ask really, really good questions and to really dig in and to learn the why behind everything. So he's been tremendous in all aspects.
It's been not that long since he's been on staff, but have you seen that why and inquisitiveness trickle down already throughout your ranks, and kind of see how people change approach their questioning differently?
Yeah, and I think one of the principles that we have is, and I'm pretty good at is always be the dumbest person in the room. So with me, like I qualify like always. So to have Lee, he's a Vanderbilt guy, you know, I was a public education guy, so he's constantly helping us and learn. And then when we sit in these meetings and just sometimes, even if we're talking about strategy, whether it's about a potential trade, is he's not necessarily doing a talent evaluation, but he's more questioning kind of the process we get to make a decision. And you know, we have an unbelievable group, and you think about the humility, like, look, we got great star power. If you think about Doc, Jerry, Steve, and yet, to me, it's great humility. And when I think about Lee, I think about his humility and no ego. Like, Lee in the journalism business he's a rock star, but yet you would never know that. And he's extremely humble, and I think that's why he's so extremely well liked, because for people who don't know Lee, like, he's never saying, oh yeah, like I wrote X amount of cover stories for sports, so like they would have no idea. So yeah, Lee has helped us in a lot of different processes, and with his questioning, and continue to pull those strings to make us think at a little bit deeper level.